which automatically means even you and I both understand that what I'm saying is morally righteous. Like, why are you giving me that, you fucking idiot? It's like, wow, look at you, look at you virtue signaling. It's like, oh, so it's a virtue. So you admit. So you are like, what, being a piece of shit signaling? Is that what you're signaling to everybody? Proto Matter. Thank you for the 60 gifted subs. Oh, hell yeah.
Clarify that, please.
Jesse, I just want to make something clear. I don't care where we agree on. That is, I can't tell you how irrelevant it is to me what we agree on, whether it's in the context of trans stuff, whether it's in the context of any other politics. Wholly irrelevant. I don't care what kind of person you are. I don't care what your belief system is. None of that is relevant. The reason why I think you are toxic and at best extremely unhelpful in this area is that you distort the importance of this issue and are so fervent at pointing out this minutia that I consider minutia in the face of what is actually happening on the ground. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. That's not you, but it's an analogy, and it's an extreme one. But that's
hey, just because we have limited time, could we just keep this to stuff I've written that you have?
No.
No. Baba. Napkin verir misin, napkin? Çok ihtiyacım var. All right, we got to watch this shit. Jesse Singal or Jesse Signal or whatever. He's like,
clarify that.
He's like the transphobic guy, right? That I always mistake for another transphobic guy.
Reagan lazy. Ronald Reagan. There you go. We have time for one more.
Is this it? Why are you dressed like a twink today? Is this a twink fit?
One more call.
In honor of Larry Sinclair.
So don't feel in any way obligated whatsoever.
I think it's okay. I do feel obligated. I said I would do it. I want to honor that. But I feel like Twitter causes a lot of division and drama, and I've contributed to it. I just think there's probably
I would agree with that.
I think there's probably a fair amount we agree on some of the stuff you guys discuss, including just how bad it is to try to ban youth gender medicine. That was something I wrote about in May of 2020, before it was a national story. I also think there's like probably some areas where there's like a little bit of disagreement, but they tend to be edge cases, just stuff where there's probably going to have to be some, debate and compromise. But I think at the end of the day, I don't know. I've been like writing about science for a decade, and
what do you mean by youth gender medicine?
But here's the thing.
Clarify that, please.
Jesse, I just want to make something clear. I don't care where we agree on. That is, I can't tell you how irrelevant it is to me what we agree on, whether it's in the context of trans stuff, whether it's in the context of any other politics. Wholly irrelevant. I don't care what kind of person you are. I don't care what your belief system is. None of that is relevant. The reason why I think you are toxic and at best extremely unhelpful in this area is that you distort the importance of this issue and are so fervent
cops are coming to get him,
pointing out this minutia.
He got owned already for too hard by Sam.
In the face of what is actually happening on the ground. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. That's not you, but it's an analogy, and it's an extreme one. But that's
just because we have limited time. Could we just keep this to stuff I've written that you have?
No,
that you
because I don't. Because no, it's not even there. There's a specific no. Because it's not even that there's a specific thing that I take issue with, because that in some ways is exactly what the like indicative of the same problem. And I will do this. Is like, I know that you feel that you are just writing stuff that you think is accurate, very technically accurate, that your issue was in insisting and in highlighting this clip that no one had seen really until you promoted it. That in the words saying that when Matt said your lies were cited by Republican attorney generals, for whatever reason, when we did this email exchange and you put out a little clip of it, you didn't use, you said conservatives. I was confused by that because maybe I thought you were talking about something different. But my issue with you, what you do, okay, is best summed up in this analogy. And again, this is an analogy that's extreme, but it makes the case, is that back in 2004, there was a writer who wanted to argue, and you remember what was happening in 2004, 2005 in Iraq. Maybe it was before your time, I'm not sure. Who wanted to argue that there is nuance in the context of the torture debate. And by, sort of showing that within the context of the torture debate, there were nuanced instances where the idea of saying that torture is bad is inaccurate because there were nuanced instances where that was okay. And I think the headline was in defense of torture. And it was published on...
Another Samuel wrote that famously. Samuel Harris, of course. God, I love Sam Cedar so much.
On the Huffington Post. At a time
Dude,
where
that's completely grotesque.
Yes, I'm sure. I use this example because I knew you would think it was grotesque. But why is it grotesque? Because this writer claimed that, like, look, I don't want to talk. I'm not trying to talk over you, but can you just give me something to latch onto? A problem you have with my work, not with the work of someone else. Well, I'm explaining it to you. You don't want to engage in it. I will explain it to you. The reason why it's
grotesque. I'm trying to engage in it.
Okay. The reason why it's grotesque to me in that instance is because it's one thing to sort of like create a thought experiment where you could argue there are instances where torture is a legitimate choice. But it is another to do it.
Torture is not a legit, but torture is
I'm not saying that you are. I'm not saying that you are, Jesse. In fact, no, Jesse. I am using torture as an example so that you will understand my problem with your writing. I know that you think torture is abhorrent. That's why I'm using this as an example. There is no doubt in my mind that you agree with me totally on this perspective of torture. But let me finish so I can explain to you
my actual work.
I'm going to
my work.
Okay.
Okay, you'll get to it, I guess.
I will. I promise.
Why don't people ever comprehend how analogies work? He's trying to drive home the point. Instead of arguing on the minutia of like specific writings related to trans research that he's supposedly fucking revealing. I know what he's going to say, and if you're not a fucking dumbass, you should have figured it out as well if you're Jesse Singal. He's saying that at a time when like actual torture is happening, creating hypothetical scenarios in which like torture could be justifiable is gruesome. At a time when there is real trans panic and a metric ton of anti-trans legislation passing that is truly harming trans people, not just children, adults as well. Writing articles claiming that you are, covering the trans issue from an objective scientific perspective when that is not the case is contributing to the harm that trans people are experiencing. Especially when Republican attorneys general use your writings as a way to claim, look, liberals are on our side as well. This is a bipartisan issue.
This is I'll be done by now. In promoting that, in that instance, in a moment when torture is on the front pages of the news, regardless of whether there was merit to the philosophical argument about the value of torture, which I would agree and I'm convinced that you would think is abhorrent, period. What that article does is it gives cover for people who were promoting torture in places outside of Huffington Post. The writer is basically positing that they have no impact.
By the way, this is why I love
on
Sam.
This public
partially because like we are in agreement on a lot of issues, almost down to a T.
Debate, because I believe that if you are writing in this manner and you are promoting ideas in this manner in public, then you must take responsibility not just for the specific content as the letters, but its impact and how it's heard and how it's used in a political struggle that is going on. And I suggest that when you say the Republicans, AGs, who cited my material in the Atlantic, did so and twisted it in a way that it meant something different than it did, that at the very least, you would realize that you are being used as a means to attack trans people and to attract attack.
But that's why 4 days. But that's why 4 days after they put that brief out, I did a Substack post saying lying about my work.
I'm glad that you did a Substack post. In fact, that same torture guy has a whole page on his, at that time, I think it was Medium.
Yep. He also clarified his comments that he wrote on the Huffington Post
as to why this is being misinterpreted. But do you know how many people saw the HuffPost thing versus saw that Medium thing? This is what we call in sales a funnel. I don't know why I say we, because I'm not in sales, but I read enough about it.
You're saying that a lot of people saw this fairly obscure brief over a technical aspect of Affordable Care Act enforcement. That's your argument, that was like a viral Huffington Post article?
Are you suggesting in any way, Jesse, that your work hasn't been cited over and over again by people saying, like, even the liberal Jesse Singal says that there's something problem here?
I mean, so the problem is that, with all due respect, I explained to you in the email like exactly what they did. My article said
you didn't even say when I said Republican AGs. I specifically asked you. Now you didn't publish this part of the email. You only published like the first line of it for whatever reason. But I asked you when I wanted to clarify this and catching up on it, what was defamatory? Because I think your words were straightforwardly defamatory about Matt Leck saying that your lies were cited by Republican AGs. And then you wrote back something about a tweet exchange you had with Matt about conservatives. For whatever reason, you wouldn't acknowledge that this Republican AG thing was.
No, I know, but we're referring to the same legal document. And I pointed
well, I didn't know that because you didn't say anything about that legal. I can read the email right now if you want to clarify that.
Sam, could I get
it seemed really manipulative of you to pretend that you had explained this to me and saying, you know, when whatever the tweet storm that you were trying to get going, when in fact I said Republican AG and you said conservatives, some conservatives.
Sam, I think you're a little bit trying to talk over me because I'm making a very basic point here.
Chatters who are confused. Jesse Singal is a massive anti-trans journalist who always does the just asking questions type of shit to cut anti-trans propaganda. And that propaganda is, of course, incredibly well received by a broader audience of transphobes who are either self-proclaimed liberals or psychotic Republicans, then literally use it as a justification to say, look, even liberals are on board with this kind of shit. They are also asking questions and they think it's scary. In an identical capacity to the role that Sam Harris played, which Sam Seder here is perfectly pointing to, in the liberal justifications for all of the psychotic things that we did when we were pursuing the war on terror.
Okay, go ahead. You have the floor.
Okay. I emailed you. I pointed out that this brief said...
No, you did not use the words brief. I did not use... You did not use the words brief, Jesse. That's why...
I mean, Jesse, if you want to get specific, you got specific about the fact that a viewer wrote in and said that you cited one part of this written document by that woman, what was her name, Jamie Reed, that you didn't cite. And so if we want to be specific, then be specific about what you said to Sam in this email.
Okay, let me read this, because you're now claiming that you said the word brief, or you said the word attorney, because I asked you.
Hey, sorry, we've been talking about the same document the whole time. You can either.
Well, I didn't know this.
Why the
I didn't know this.
Jesse,
I don't know your stuff from Adam. I don't care. I said I'm unclear. Let me make this clear.
You don't know
Here,
my stuff.
I'll tell you what. We'll put this up, because we'll put this up.
Oh, you do know my stuff.
No. We will put up our exchange, because you're mischaracterizing our exchange right now, just like you did on Twitter.
I know, but you won't let me. I'm happy to explain it.
Well, no. I get it now, because I've had to go back and try and understand what you were talking about.
Now you get it. Okay.
But you are, even in this call, mischaracterizing our exchange. And this is what you do. This is my experience of you. You keep saying that people misunderstand me, and Sam said he was going to do this and this and that, and you're the one who creates the confusion. I don't know if you do it on purpose, or if you do it because you're trying to obscure some agenda. I don't know. I don't care.
I think it's more that I up 4 years ago, but none of you guys have read that post, and you keep referring to it. And that's why I'm just trying to get
I don't care about that post.
30 seconds. No, I know you don't care about it, but I'm just trying to get 30 seconds to explain what happened, which you can choose not to grant me that 30 seconds, but just.
I'm going to give you 30 seconds.
Okay. They cited my work to say that gender medicine doesn't help trans adults. My work described that gender medicine as life-saving, and it quoted multiple trans adults who found it life-saving. So you can't read my article.
How late in the piece, Jesse? Have you heard of the principle of journalism, where essentially you're supposed to?
Emma.
No. How late into the piece?
Top of the piece.
How late into the piece, Jesse?
Jesse, I'm looking at this section that you sent me about, like, for sure, trans affirming care. This paragraph. There's 3,500 words in front of it. The section that you clipped for me.
Yeah. So you would think that the more obvious point, just basic rules of journalism.
Well, wait a second,
I know you're a journalist.
I want to hear
No.
Was it 3,500 words in, or was it?
He's just doing a classic journalistic practice called burying the lead, guys. I don't understand. You usually bury the lead 3,500 words in to your article, and then it's fine. And then everyone is supposed to understand not necessarily the point that you're trying to get across, but instead the point that that you can always use as a saving grace for yourself if you want to maintain the veneer that you are a liberal at the end of the day.
At the top of the piece.
Yeah, which part?
It was 3,500 words into a 12,000 word piece, so it was near the top.
It was in the top 25% of a 12,000 word piece. Okay.
Right. As opposed to, I mean, Jesse, have you not in your work
outside of 25%
emphasize certain specific cases that are outside of the trend of the overwhelming data that shows that gender affirming care for youth is effective and helps reduce suicidal ideation and is important, and that the sister myth essentially is a small edge case? Have you not focused on that a disproportionate amount versus the overwhelming other elements of data that I just described?
Well, he's going to fucking say that that's not the case, because he's going to say that it's not a myth and that he's a journalist, and then his job is to show the hidden truths.
Oh, but what you just said isn't true. There isn't overwhelming evidence.
There is. I'm looking. Okay, have you read the Journal of Pediatrics and their clear results on this front, where they looked at children, youth,
you're talking
over
about a
5
Jack
years?
Turbin paper. I've written two. No, so you're talking about Christina Olson's paper, not Jack Turbin's paper. I apologize. Christina Olson's paper took a group of kids who transitioned early, social transition.
Yep.
She found that 93% of them 5 years in were still in that socially transitioned role, but none of them were diagnosed with gender dysphoria. So you can't compare that to the question I'm interested in, which is whether these treatments help alleviate gender dysphoria, because we don't know if the kids in Olson's sample had gender dysphoria.
You're using outdated terminology to talk about children who are already socially transitioning and showing that that is effective, and they're consistent after that 5-year period in their transition.
This is just an objective matter of fact. What you just said,
this is
Christina
pedantic.
Olsen
Do you
study
do you
cited-
do you
No, but
believe
it
that
doesn't
no
even
no no it
address the
is?
question.
Do you believe that gender affirming care works and is overwhelmingly effective with children? Do you believe it?
I am with the 5 European countries who have looked into this question closely, and all of them are like, we don't know yet. We need more data. So no, it's not.
Oh,
Okay.
dude, you know what? I do prefer Republicans to this kind of shit. Actually, I do. Because at least Republicans are honest about their lack of interest in having like a conversation. They're just like, I don't care about your point. Like, trans people are devils, they're demons, they're perverts, they're morally degenerate. I hate this type of liberalism where like you constantly have to act like your interlocutor is interested in having a genuine conversation, and then 90% of the conversation revolves around how you've misunderstood them, how they are simply asking for, simply asking questions, simply curious about the issue at hand, simply covering objective facts from the side that is unheard and unrepresented. And when pushed in to a corner, immediately they go, well, I'm siding with the countries, and also saying that I don't know what to do. Jordan Peterson very famously used to do this before he just dropped that fucking notion that he's like actually a centrist or a liberal. It's debate purgatory that really, really frustrates me here. I hate it. I hate it so much. Just say what you fucking mean, man. Say what you fucking mean. And it's always those people who refuse to say what they fucking mean because they think it's an advantageous position in this supposedly quote-unquote intellectual conversation where they're supposed to arrive at the truth, that turn around and desperately try to move your words that you use very clearly in a direction that they are not in. Every single time I have conversations with debate lords who do this professionally, okay? I'm not just talking about like media people who engage in debates or whatever. Every single time, the main purpose of the conversation is, what are the clippable moments where we can make our opponent say something he doesn't actually mean? And even if he doesn't trip up in that conversation, even if he uses very carefully the words to show you what he actually means, we can clip it out of context and then claim that it's something that he doesn't mean. And then repeating it over and over and over again. If you are just now noticing how people do this, yes, I see this so often, it's getting annoying as fuck. If it's just now getting annoying for you, it's because you haven't been in these circles. Do you ever stop talking? No, brother. I'm a Twitch streamer. This is what I do. Been following since, well, I guess you haven't been following for that long. But yeah, no, this is my job, kind of. I don't know if you know that. It's like I keep talking and I serve you top of the hour ad breaks, which you will see because you are not subscribed, even though it's September, and you can save 30% off on new subs this September. You know, Joan Rivers says that Obama's the first gay president years ago, right? And then she mysteriously died. Yeah, dude. You know how many other people also have said that Michelle Obama was actually a man, like a trans woman, and therefore a man, and haven't died? Do you know the number? Do you know the amount of people who say it all the time to this day who are very much alive? Also, the idea that like Joan Rivers mysteriously died is fucking hilarious. Here's a 3-minute ad break now, by the way. That Joan Rivers is mysteriously an untimely death is such a fucking hilarious thing to say when she died at the age of 81 after injecting a metric ton of Botox to every part of her fucking face, which is poison, okay? Like, she was literally a walking fucking corpse doing God knows what in Hollywood for the amount of years that she lived there. And the fact that she died at 81 and you're still fucking turning around. Joan Rivers the GOAT, though? Fuck no. Joan Rivers is not the GOAT. What are you talking about? She was fucking gross. put some respect on Joan Rivers' name. Hey, I don't know if you know this, but she was also like a very racist person who did actually say that Michelle Obama was a man and Barack Obama was gay and having gay sex with Michelle Obama. I love how you even admit to being a fucking coward with your own curiosity. You can't stand behind your own convictions and have to be only asking questions. Say what you mean or fuck off, you dummy. What is he saying? 5 OECD countries with better health outcomes than the USA isn't cherry picking. You can't just ignore them. Most recent evidence is concerning, but even that is too taboo to express, apparently. Medical studies aren't hate speech, yes, as well as disingenuous hyperbolic analogies. Yeah, I like the appeal that, like, we have. I like the appeal that we have to the supposed medical studies happening in the in these countries when, like, these are mostly the very same political forces that activate in said countries that are totally active here in the United States of America. It's very odd to me that people will point to another country and go, well, those countries, you point to them about their healthcare all the time, and yet here you are not recognizing that they are totally genuine and legitimately trying to save their children by refusing this kind of healthcare, when in fact those countries are also susceptible to the same political forces that America is susceptible to. So what the fuck does that mean? And can you explain to me why you don't think that these are, once again, Sovereign Schultz and such always praise Joan Rivers, a great stand-up comedian. I had no idea she was seriously an Obama is gay truther. People are like, that country's Heritage Foundation did a study. Why don't you listen to them? Yeah. People forget that, like, if you live in gay-ass Sweden, that, like, your Heritage Foundation cutout is actually going to be Heritage Foundation but gay. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, these are European countries. They're gay as fuck. Chat's moving so fast. I can't see your ads. Omega dick riding. Dude, you're killing it, King. King of sleep. Anyway, I don't care about Joan Rivers right now. This is so stupid. She died at the age of 81. If you think that she died under mysterious circumstances at the age of 81, you are the biggest fucking baboon on the planet, okay? Bro, I cannot comprehend how stupid you could be. You'll be like, dude, it was very suspicious how Joan Rivers died at the age of 81. Possibly because Obama assassinated him. You'll never guess what community that guy was from. Wait, the one that was like asking about the OECD nations? Well, I'm not done with that guy. I want to hear what he has to say. Or are you talking about this fucking idiot who's like, Joan Rivers assassinated? Very sus, guys. I can't believe Obama killed her at the age of 81 by what? Like, sneezing in her direction? Is that how she killed? Is that how she was killed? So young. Sweden has closed off giving HRT to kids under 18 due to the UK court case, literally like you described, because of political powers. Yeah. Swedish right-wing government. UK obviously is Turf Island. All these countries are taking note from the other right-wing populism existing in other countries. That's it. Ook is monkey noises in RuneScape, by the way. What? What does that have to do with anything? Oh, he's trying to do like a 4chan style racism in here, but it was too nerdy for me to comprehend. So thank you for explaining it to me. Like, that's pretty funny, man. It's okay to question things, Hasan. Brother, if you are sitting around thinking that Joan Rivers was assassinated when she died at the age of 81, you are literally the dumbest person I have ever seen in my entire life, okay? Like, I can't even, you are genuinely stupider than, like, the majority of people that we encounter on a daily basis here. And we encounter a lot of stupid fucks in here who are like, yeah, Antonio Fauci had gay sex with Barack Obama. Like, that is stupid. That's crazy. That's fun. That's unique. That's entertaining. I have never heard someone literally actually try to claim that Joan Rivers was assassinated because how could she have died at the age of 82? Google King of Sleep? I don't want to fucking Google it. What the fuck is King of Sleep? I don't know. What? Why is this the first thing that came up when I Googled King of Sleep? What the fuck? Bro, is this the intellectual giants? Hasan, all your dick riders are on me. Called them off, bro. First of all, if your theory isn't a TikTok, you know that shit is ass. Dude, I mean, I appreciate it because I appreciate it personally because, like, I mean, it's at least creative, but it's really stupid. It's creative, but it's really stupid. Anyway, let's keep going.
It is established.
All right. Well, so you don't believe it. No, but you just changed the question that she asked you.
I'm not
There's
sure
no
yet.
doubt. Listen.
I have to go
We are aware. I am aware that the Dutch protocol is no longer being used in these 5 European countries, and that they're looking at more data. I'm also aware of like hundreds of situations where Europeans and Americans have different protocols, and part of that process in which there is some like sort of like broad agreement is that doctors work this stuff out. You clearly have an agenda, and you recoil at the idea that people suggest that you have an agenda. Now, you think that your agenda is founded in a science that is not available to other people. And I'm suggesting, like, you know, like, I have no problem with doctors.
It's totally available to you guys.
No, you're not. It's available to me now.
It is completely obscure to us because, as you've said on your show.
Sorry, you guys are talking one. Can you just talk one at a time? I can't hear
Sure.
Speaker.
Because, as you've said on your show, we're doing this just to A, make cash, and B, seen as like more righteous than other people. I've listened to at least part of one of your shows. And so I know that you said this. I know you said this, Jesse. I know that you feel this.
My
now, I
favorite
do
type
not
of
attribute to you some type.
My favorite type of cope from right wingers is like basically, and this guy is like obviously a right winger, but he has to maintain the appearance that he's liberal. But my favorite type of cope is like, oh, you're just saying these things as you're virtue signaling, which automatically means even you and I both understand that what I'm saying is morally righteous. Like, why are you giving me that, you fucking idiot? It's like, wow, look at you, look at you virtue signaling. It's like, oh, so it's a virtue. So you admit. So you are like, what, being a piece of shit signaling? Is that what you're signaling to everybody? It's so odd. That's not a good counter, man. I mean, I guess maybe it's a good counter if we live in this universe where there's a lot of other people who are just as shitty as you are, and they're like, no, that's actually good. We're vice signaling. But ultimately, you yourself personally believe that the things that I'm saying are a virtue. You might consider it to be a grift. You might not believe that I'm genuine in my opinion, but ultimately we both agree that it's a fucking virtue. You know? Yeah. Enlightened ass Europeans, brother. Yeah. Sweden and other European nations could never possibly fall victim to reactionary, populist, right-wing propaganda. Famously, Europe has never done that. I don't know if you guys know this, but it's very famous where Europe has never had reactionary politics that one would possibly consider fucking fascist. That has never happened, and it certainly could never happen again, even if it did happen at a certain point in time, even though we don't know if it happened or not, because clearly reactionary, dumbass, brain-rotted politics is exclusively an American concept. Anyway, where the fuck is that other guy? Not the King of Sleep guy who thinks Joan Rivers was assassinated. God damn, dude. She ain't sending their fucking best out here. This is shit. My man came in and said Obama was definitely gay. Michelle Obama was a man, and Joan Rivers said it as such, and then got assassinated at the young age of 82. Guy left. Or did he get banned? He did get banned. What's wrong with cautious skepticism? Yes, as well, disingenuous hyperbolic analogies. Maybe because I don't them. It's not a think tank studies, though. Okay, got it. I unbanned them. I want to hear what he has to say.
Intent. I don't know that you're making cash off this or what it is. I just see what the impact of what you do is, and I think it's reprehensible. And that's it.
Well, but I've already explained to you guys.
No, I'm not just talking about limited to.
You raised of that was misinterpreted, and you changed the debate into, okay, you did say that, but it wasn't high enough.
Hey, listen, Jesse, I didn't say anything in the beginning. I wouldn't have known about this, and no one would have known about it except for your insistence that it was straightforwardly defamatory, that you had been cited by Republican AGs, and that what had been cited was lies. And you said to me in an email it was straightforwardly defamatory. I get news for you. You don't know what the word straightforwardly means, and I'm not sure you know what the word defamatory means.
I never claimed to be, it could just be you guys are smarter than me on this stuff, but do you think the sentence in that legal brief accurately describes my work? That's all I'm asking.
What sentence?
I don't know.
The sentence that there's no consensus that transition alleviates gender dysphoria. Do you think that accurately describes my
quote? Was that quote from your?
Hold up, it's right there. We've been.
Was that quote from your piece?
Well, Jesse, then let me just ask you directly once again: do you believe that the established standards of care in the United States are effective and should be implemented to help children as they begin to transition in their youth?
The standards of care say that kids should get like 1 to 2 years of therapy before they transition. So that might be too conservative, but it's something like that.
Okay, so what's the issue?
So then what's the problem?
Those are the new standards of care. The question is whether people are following them.
Okay, well, you know what?
I doubt Emma.
But with the evidence that you've shown, the Jamie Reed whistleblower, bro, has been discredited over and over again, and you wrote a whole write-up about that.
She hasn't been discredited?
She has not been discredited?
Hold on, a couple things. Guys, one thing at a time. Emma.
Wait, she hasn't been discredited?
Can we finish it?
Well, can I just be clear on what you said?
I'm happy to talk to you.
She has not been discredited.
Let me finish my point.
Okay, wait.
Okay, let me finish.
You just said something. I just want to, I was talking over you. I just want to make sure you said it. Jamie Reed has not been discredited in your mind.
I'm happy to address this. I just want to finish up the thing about the standards of care, because I think that's super important, actually.
You didn't say this. What you said just a couple of seconds ago on this show.
I'd like to finish.
Hey, dude, I got a big guest that's coming up in a minute.
Yeah. Has Jamie Reed been discredited or no?
Emma, it sounds to me that you think kids should get 1 to 2 years of therapy.
Has Jamie Reed, who was not intimately involved.
She has not been discredited.
Oh, that's interesting to me. Okay, that's interesting because, we've got to run, but people can look this up. There have been lies over and over proven that she has put out there, which you took at face value.
When you come on the show, can we just get a little bit more specific about the SSD?
In a pair of new reports from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and the Missouri Independent have called into question key claims that a self-proclaimed whistleblower recently made about the Washington University Transgender Center and St. Louis Children's Hospital. Former employee at the center, Jamie Reed, alleged in a first-person Free Press essay last month that went viral that she had witnessed morally and medically appalling treatment of transgender children and their parents during her 4 years of working at the center. Reed, who has called for the center to be shut down, also detailed her allegations in a sworn affidavit to Missouri's Attorney General, who launched one of 3 investigations into the center now underway in the GOP-controlled state. At least 20 people, including parents of patients and patients themselves, have given accounts that directly challenge key claims made by Reed in the Free Press. That minors seeking care at the center were given little to no psychological examination before they were treated, that they were rushed into being prescribed puberty blockers or hormones and were not given adequate information about both sides, about the side effects, that consent for medical treatment was not always sought from both parents, and that the center had referred to children for gender-affirming surgery. Almost 24 parents of children seen at the clinic, which opened in 2017, say their experiences sharply contradict the examples supplied by Reed. Once again, though, it doesn't fucking matter, okay? You can have every single patient consent. You can have every single doctor consent. You can have every single person involved in the story say, No, actually, everything was above board. And yet, if there's one fucking whistleblower who's like, actually, everyone is literally lying, and I'm the one who's actually fucking telling the truth correctly, then all the fucking transphobic people are going to listen to the guy who's most likely lying. Now, remember, parents of trans youth spent hours pouring their hearts out to a New York Times reporter. They thought she empathized with them and trusted her with their stories. But as publication approached, one mom began to grow suspicious of the reporter's warm interactions with Jamie Reed, the very same anti-trans activist she'd proven to the New York Times Azine Goraishi had misrepresented her daughter's medical history in the sworn affidavit. This is the story of a New York Times reporter who played hardball with a vulnerable family and won. These people obviously don't care about trans people at all, which is precisely why it's incredibly easy for them to walk over the parents' testimonies and the trans children's testimonies in this kind of situation, because they don't care. Their job is to cut propaganda in a specific direction. Okay? Going in, I thought I'd be writing about the disappointment of the families realized they'd been wrong to trust the New York Times reporter. I didn't expect the dramatic scene lasting well into the night before publication of a family trying to decide whether to pull their participation. A tidbit that didn't make the draft because it felt a little too inside journalism. Heidi was particularly unhappy with the final quote in Zine's story. She says Zine told her it was too late to change anything and no one reads stories at the end anyway. I cannot imagine saying that to anyone who expressed dissatisfaction with my reporting, much less distraught parents of this type of situation, but I guess New York Times reporters are built different. Workers at the gender clinic were keeping a spreadsheet of the clients that they thought were not really trans, and that they shared that spreadsheet with socially conservative politicians and Jesse fucking Single. Which is I'm pretty sure, a HIPAA violation, right? It's pretty wild that so consistently do you have people that regularly, what's going on here, chat? He's mansplaining? Fucking idiot. That he's mansplaining. I'm a man. There's no moment where I'm not mansplaining. Men do be splaining, dude. That's how it works. I know, this person's joking. It's funny, though. The wild part about this, by the way, is that, like, of course, every time articles like this get written, some of the worst psychopaths on the planet immediately call in bomb threats. Because, Hasan, you're a man. And you're splaining. That's what I call a blackmail. Because, Jet, you are black and you are male. Anyway, the idea that nobody got information when everyone was pushed towards treatment is just not true. One parent was skeptical of the need for transgender centers to begin with the post, told the Dispatch that they thought they did feel pressure by the center to proceed with unspecified treatment, that they have not forced us to do anything. They have not forced us to do anything. The parent was vague about any treatment that the center recommended or the teenager was receiving, saying only they believe more therapy may resolve the teenager's issues. Even so, the parent does not want the transgender center shut down, but said the approach should be broader with extended psychotherapy for patients, according to the Post-Dispatch. Anyway. I need gender-affirming Trenbolone and Dianabol. I wish Reed's clinic was real. Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, all you get is this new what is it called? SARMs or whatever? I don't even fucking know. We need legally mandated Trenbolone. Okay? We need to trend and trend hard, folks. Okay? SARMs goblins, whatever the fuck. What the fuck is Trenbolone? Think about it. What kind of drugs that are currently illegal that I always advocate for usage? Even though I'm too much of a coward to use it myself. I'm transgender. Hair growth? No, I already take that, and that's very much legal. It's not illegal. No, it's not cocaine, and it's not heroin. I'm an upper guy more than I'm a downer guy, regardless. But let me tell you something. There's one type of drugs that I'm always talking about that I love, that I think is sick. I'm too much of a coward to do it, though. It's steroids, baby. That's right. No, it's not fucking lean. I don't give a shit about that. Again, no downers. I'm more so an uppers guy anyway.
Honestly, dude, I mean, look, I want to engage in good faith. And we have now had this conversation.
I'm trying to be
transgender. Honest with you,
like,
I don't back down from anybody.
I'm sorry. I thought that was so fucking stupid. That transgender.
But I really think you should just have a trans person on, or an activist or someone of that kind, because I cover a bunch of issues on this program. We cover politics on a daily basis from different perspectives. And
okay, so you're backing out, though, is what you're saying.
Sure. I to be honest with you,
based upon your original complaint to me, I will, as a boss, I will suspend her if she goes on your show.
We had a back and forth over email. We couldn't.
You called the manager.
And
you didn't get the response.
I don't want to give this more life.